Volkswagen buses.
Yes.
Beach.
Vintage Volkswagen buses.
Rastas.
Maybe love.
Religions without love.
Since the advent of social media, we have all seen countless pictures and videos of animals showing us unconditional love. I saw one a few months ago, and it's making the rounds, and I'll probably get it again. I may have sent it, I don't remember. But there's a bird in a field on her nest of eggs, and a combine is coming. And the combine driver sees the bird, centers so none of the tractor tires hit it, and the mother bird is sitting on her nest with her eggs out. Well, this tractor drives over. The combine gets right to the nest, stops, lifts up the blades, goes over, pop down, and the whole time this mother bird is sitting there at the risk of her own life protecting those eggs. That's unconditional love. And I think that's why we have dogs and cats. I can't speak to cat stories because I don't have too many to share. But we all have loved dogs. Not all. Not everybody's a dog person. But dogs show us so much about how to love. Unfortunately, how to lose. How to love again. So today is about love. The topic is love. The topic for the month, ensure the stewardship of our planet. And a big part of what I'm going to talk about today is loving Earth Mother, loving our planet. The book for the month is Spiritual Ecology, The City of the Earth by Llewellyn Vaughan Lee. In Science of Mind, Dr. Holmes has a very brief statement. Love points the way, and the law makes the way possible. Each of you are a love story. A love story. That's why we're here. Love is all there is. The only real, true love is unconditional. This means we are instruments of divine love. We're already loved, and each and every one of us is lovable. So go be a lover. Love. There's a quote by Bishop Carlton Pearson. Why is everyone so scared to love unconditionally? I will give you a personal example. When I was a kid, my dad never once used the word love that I heard. Never said I love you when we go to bed. Just say goodnight. And I, as a kid, after a while, even as a teenager, it began to bother me. And then I had to kind of learn about my dad. My dad grew up in the Depression. And he was the term farmed out. When he was 10 years old, he was sent out to live on a farm with total strangers as a farmhand because they would feed him, and maybe my grandparents couldn't. So he was probably lacking a little bit in the reception of love. He was a farmhand when he was 10 till he was 15. 5 years he spent with that family. I honestly don't know if he saw his own family at all in that time. So for him to express it wasn't going to happen. But as an adult, every phone call with my dad, and he was in Pennsylvania, I was in Reno, so it was mostly phone calls. Love you, Dad. Long silence. once for a while. And then eventually he was, love you too. He obviously loved his kids. He had 4 of us. He was a great dad. But expressing love wasn't part of his nature until later. I don't know how many people grew up like he did, but it's so easy to say, I love you. I love you. When Reverend Rebecca was here, she said it every day up here. I love each and every one of you. And I was like, oh, that's nice. Now I'm up here. And it's my turn to say, I love each and every one of you. Because I do see you as spiritual beings. And that's who you are. Science of mind, love rules through law. In an intelligent study of the teachings of science of mind, we come to understand that all is love, and yet all is law. Love rules through law. Love is the divine givingness. Law is the way that it expresses. Love is spontaneous. Law is impersonal. We should study the nature of reality with that in mind. And in this way, we shall avoid 2 grave mistakes. Either viewing life as made up of mechanical laws, or viewing it as made up only of spontaneous actions, irrespective of love and law. Because law is not personal. Love is personal. The heart is the center of divine love and perfect circulation. Its action is harmonious, vital, adequate, and complete. There is no false action, no wrong action from the heart. Let not your heart be blocked. Love is at the center of our being, and the calm, continuous pulsation of life is garnered by love. And we've often heard, as within, so without. We get to heal. Actually, we get to reveal our inherent wholeness. When we say we do a science of mind treatment, we do a science of mind revealing, a revelation of truth. Taking responsibility for our forgetfulness shows up in us and the world around us, including our earth. And when I say forgetfulness, it's we forget to be mindful. We forget to be loving with each other and how we treat the earth. Love alone can overcome fear, because love surrenders itself to the object of its adoration. The soul must completely surrender to spirit. That's the law. We all come under the law. The will of spirit is peace, clear thinking, and happiness. Could have no other way. Proverbs 10:12. One of my rare quotes. Hatred stirs up conflict, but love covers all wrongs. From the book of the month, it's only through awakening to an awareness of the sacredness within creation and its relation to our own sacred nature that we can begin to right the primal imbalance that lies at the human predicament. John 15, verse 12. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. not so many weeks ago, someone posted a sign from a church, and it had that quote. And then it said, he actually meant that. We're supposed to love each other. Luke 6:27. But to you who are listening, I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. We could use a little more of that these days. Our country seems to be floundering a little in its consciousness and acceptance and tolerance of each other. But enough of that. I want to shift just a little. Talk about how we manifest our oneness with everything. It's our responsibility to include Mother Earth in our spiritual practices. I said become a lover. Make Earth your lover. Remember her. Pray for her. Care for her in the way that is unique to you. Authentic. Conscious. You are an individualized expression of the one. Remember, all life is sacred. Right now, Mother Earth is showing us her power. We have hurricanes, earthquakes, fires. The Amazon is on fire. Massive shark sightings in water that used to be too cold. Bears wandering through towns and cities. Cities. Have you thought about all of that? What's happening? The first step is always to recognize what is happening. We can't afford to be blinded, blinkered by what's going on, by our materialistic culture, by our glittering distractions. We need to face the reality of our own ecological imbalance. It's a crisis. We need to inwardly sense the loss of the sacred. All the ways our culture has lost its own identity. We've lost our connection through the natural sense of creation. This outline, I'm going to tell you, I scrapped a whole bunch of material so I could bring this. Anybody read Touch the Earth? Well, it's Touch the Earth, a self-portrait of Indian existence. And I want to share a few quotes. That print's a lot smaller than my print. The Lakota was a true naturist, a lover of nature. He loved the earth and all things of the earth, the attachment growing with age. The old people came literally to love the soil, and they sat or reclined on the ground with a feeling of being close to a mothering power. It was good for the skin to touch the earth, and the old people liked to remove their moccasins and walk with bare feet on the sacred earth. Their teepees were built upon the earth, and their altars were made of earth. The birds that flew in the air came to rest upon soil, cleansing, healing. That is why the old Indian still sits upon the earth, instead of propping himself up and away from its life-giving force. For him to sit or lie upon the ground is to be able to think more deeply and to feel more keenly. he can see more clearly into the mysteries of life and come closer in kinship to other lives about him. The old Lakota was wise. He knew that man's heart away from nature becomes hard. He knew that lack of respect for living things soon led to lack of respect for humans too. So he kept his youth close to its softening influence. I got a total of 3 of these. Here's the second. The white people never cared for land or deer or bear. When we Indians kill meat, we eat it all up. When we dig roots, we make little holes. When we build houses, we make little holes. When we burn grass for grasshoppers, we don't ruin things. We shake down acorns and pine nuts. We don't chop down the trees. We only use dead wood. But the white people plow up the ground, pull down the trees, kill everything. The tree says, "Don't, I am sore. Don't hurt me." But they chop it down and cut it up. The spirit of the land hates them. They blast our trees and stir it up to its depths. They saw up the trees. The Indians never hurt anything, but the white people destroy all. They blast rocks and scatter them on the ground. The rock says, "Don't, you're hurting me." But the white people pay no attention. When the Indians use rocks, they take little round rocks for their cooking. How can the spirit of the earth like the white man? Everywhere the white man has touched, it is sore. I want to think about that. Does talking to rocks, trees, and animals sound strange to you?
No.
No?
Isn't it consistent with our teaching? That everything that exists is just one thing. Spirit is creator, our source, our divine intelligence. So why shouldn't we be able to communicate with what we are? Losing our connection to nature has cost us so much in consciousness and the ability to appreciate all that surrounds us. Okay, one more. When I was 10 years of age, I looked at the land and the rivers, the sky above, and the animals around me, and could not fail to realize that they were made by some great power. I was so anxious to understand this power that I questioned the trees and the bushes. It seemed as though the flowers were staring at me, and I asked them, "Who made you?" I looked at the moss-covered stones. Some of them seemed to have the feature of a man, but they could not answer me. Then I had a dream. And in my dream, one of these small round stones appeared to me and told me that the maker of all was Wakantanka. And that in order to honor him, I must honor his works in nature. The stone said that by my search I had shown myself worthy of supernatural help. It said that if I were curing a sick person, I might ask it for assistance, and that all the forces of nature would help me work for a cure. I like that. We're all from Wakantanka. I may or may not have pronounced that even close. But in order to honor him/her. We must all honor the works in nature. We can't abuse nature and still believe we're honoring spirit. In fact, extend that thought a little further. We can't abuse anyone, especially ourselves, and still be honoring Spirit God. That takes us back to the scriptures that I quoted in the beginning. It began with telling us to love freely, including our enemies. Each one of us is a sacred love story. We get to write the script of that story. We get to clarify what our love story is and how we feel about it. What we see when we look at our lives. What do we celebrate? How do we live? What we don't love about, we set free. Then as we heal, we become a much more beneficial presence on the earth, on the planet, our Mother Earth. We have much to lose. There are many planets. Right now, we don't have the ability to go jump ship, to go to another planet. This is our home. This is our mother. We have a responsibility to ourselves, to our heirs, to our ancestors, to our mother, to our father. It's up to us. We are powerful beyond measure. And it just takes a little shift in consciousness to make a difference. In the announcements, we will talk about a World Day of Service coming up to a center near you. For now, I want to close with the final affirmation. I am a glorious love story. I am loved, loving, and lovable. I am the place where divine love pours itself out. I am one with all that is, natural, nature, manifesting itself throughout our universe.